Welcome everybody to a look at one of several new releases from Imprint for the month of August. And this first film is from 1959 and it is Jetstorm. So this is directed by Cy Enfield, who also did the really fantastic Hell Drivers, as well as Mysterious Island and Sands of the Kalahari. So this is a thriller, clocking in at 91 minutes long. Stars the likes of Richard Attenborough, who also was in likes of Jurassic Park, 10 Rillington Place, The League of Gentlemen, the original Flight of the Phoenix, The Ship That Died of Shame, and Guns at Batazi. Also saw Stanley Baker, who was also in Hell Drivers, as well as The Guns of Navarone and Yesterday's Enemy. And finally, got May Zerteling, who was in the 1990 version of The Witches. She played the young boy's grandmother, as well as Abandoned Ship. So, passengers on a transatlantic flight from London to New York discover that one of them is mentally unbalanced. Believing a fellow passenger is the hit-and-run driver who killed his child 2 years prior, he smuggles a bomb on board and intends to use it. So this thriller is one of two late 50s airplane set films that will prove to be the precursor to the golden age of the disaster genre during the 1970s, which started with Airport. So the other film is 0 Hour, which the plot of that was actually the basis for the spoof of the disaster genre Airplane. And yeah, and while it doesn't match the best of the films during that period, it is still overall a good effort. Well, if it was from that period in the 70s, it certainly wouldn't be the worst. There's several films from that period that I could comfortably say are far worse than this one. And this is due to the effective cast, solid pacing, well executed character interactions, some decent tension throughout, an engrossing plot, and one scene that is quite, I'd say, unintentionally funny in terms of when someone gets sucked out of the airplane, but it still is pretty decently executed. So yeah, overall a 3.5 out of 5. Nothing spectacular, but a really nice, tight, taut little film that uses its primarily singular setting really well as on top of all of that. So yeah, really nicely done. And we've got a secondary artwork as well on the sleeve. Number disc. So this is number 437 in the Imprint collection. So yeah, like I said, there are other ones that we're going to be looking at that have also been recently released, like You Only Live Once, The Man Who Should Be King, Hood, Track of the Cat, and In the Heat of the Night. So yeah, we've got plenty more from Imprint to look at. But in terms of extras, we've got a 1080p high definition presentation on this. Looks and sound really rather decent. Nothing spectacular, but nothing egregious either. Then we've got audio film commentary by film critics Kim Newman and Joe Botting from the BFI National Archive from 2025. We've got film historian Sheldon Hall on Jetstorm from 2025, and a theatrical trailer as well. So yeah, overall pretty good. Only real issue I find is probably my eyesight more than anything, but the blue color for the writing on the red background doesn't really help me read it all that well, to be honest. But outside of that, yeah, pretty solid release, and yeah, a film that I really rather enjoy. Hopefully, at some point we might get like a 0 Hour on Blu-ray at some point as well. As yeah, like I said, that would be a nice. Was one of the precursors to the 70s disaster genre era, and yeah, it would be nice to have it alongside this one. But still, good enough film on its own right. Just don't go expecting the kind of spectacle that you'd get in the 70s and such, because it is quite low budget, which is also kind of fed through to the fact that the airplane itself looks a little bit bigger than it would actually be in real life. For instance, there is a second lower floor on the airplane, which yeah, wouldn't be the case for any film airplane until the Boeing 747. So that's a little bit unrealistic. And they also use a Soviet era passenger airliner, which again wasn't used outside of the Soviet Union. So yeah, a little bit unrealistic in that regard. But if you don't know anything about planes or anything like that, then that won't be too much of an issue for you. And yeah, I initially didn't know that either until I was reading up on the film. So yeah, no real negatives there. Just yeah, a decent thriller that yeah would be the precursor for many other airplane set films that would come in the decades since. So yeah, but if you have seen the film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.